2 years ago, I thought Sean McDermott should have been fired. Remember, he had like the weird 9/11 speech in the locker room. I thought that was kind of goofy. But also, the Bills, every year they're right there, and they don't get the job done. And Josh Allen is really damn good. He's a good football player. I didn't really love their offseason, but there's not much that they could do because they kind of went all in for a Super Bowl a couple years ago with those free agent signings, bringing in Von Miller past his prime and whatnot. Then this year, I thought it was going to be like a little bit of a retool, and they didn't have a clear-cut number one wide receiver. They lose Diggs. They say goodbye to Gabe Davis. They tried to they do some stuff in the draft with Coleman. I thought Dalton Kincaid was going to take that year two leap that he never did. But Josh Allen was awesome. So they won the division. It helped that the Jets were a disaster. The Dolphins stink, and the Patriots are rebuilding. But the defensive side of the ball actually overperformed, in my opinion, man. They had to replace both of their safeties. They had to actually give Damar Hamlin legit playing time. They lose Micah Hyde, who just retired, actually.
Yeah.
Jordan Poyer left. Trey White, I know he hasn't really been healthy or good the last couple of years, but he was gone. And still, they were right there in the AFC Championship game as 1.5-point dogs. So I don't know that you could fire McDermott, but I do think that he should be on the hot seat, man, or something has to change. But also, I think they need to build a little bit more on the defensive side of the ball. And he's the defensive mind dude. The offense, Joe Brady is what he is, in my opinion. I think he's a little overhyped. I would not want Joe Brady to be the head coach of my football team. I'm not going to lie. That wouldn't do it for me. So, I don't know. I think this year he should be on the hot seat. John Harbaugh is a little bit different. And I asked you why you think that he should be on the hot seat. And I get same thing, same conversation. Last year I was pissed off too, but I blame that more on the play calls. And he's not calling the plays. Like last year, you have that game at home, historically good defense, run the football. Instead, they drop Lamar back a ton. But I blame Monken. But you see it differently. This is your team. Why do you think that Harbaugh, you don't even think he should be on the hot seat? You wanted him gone?
Yeah, I want him gone.
Wow.
Because I agree it's the play calling, but the problem is it spanned multiple OCs now, right? Like it was Greg Roman abandoned the run when they had the number one seed against Tennessee in the divisional round. Lamar threw the ball like 56 times. Roman was the OC. And then they do the same thing against the Chiefs with Monken as the OC. So Harbaugh's the overlying, he's the theme between these two OCs. I just think when it comes to the Ravens in the playoffs, Ryan, Harbaugh doesn't understand how to game plan, and the Steelers game in the wild card round was perfection. That is how I wanted the Ravens to play playoff games forever. It was tremendous. It was a masterpiece. They had a drive where they had 13 plays and all of them were runs.
Yeah.
That's all I've ever wanted. They didn't run one design run against the Buffalo Bills. Not one design run with Lamar against the Bills. That's a fireable offense. That cannot happen. I understand if Monken's calling the plays, but Harbaugh needs to get on the headset and be like, hey, Todd, how about we run the ball with Lamar on this play? But he doesn't do that. How about in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs? When you see that you're abandoning the run, why doesn't John Harbaugh get on the headset? Hey, Todd, why don't we run the ball? There's none of that. So Harbaugh doesn't understand. And I think the reason is because he had so much success with Flacco in the playoffs. And Flacco and Lamar, it's two different teams.
Yeah.
With Flacco, you want to throw the ball every play because Flacco in the playoffs was incredible, and that's the way that they were built. But with Lamar, you got to run the ball, man. Him not having any design runs against the Bills is just, it's criminal. Derrick Henry only having 16 carries is criminal.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand. I thought he did after the Steelers game. And the way that they dominated that first half. They were up 21-0. They looked terrific. And everybody's going to come back and they're going to say, well, John Harbaugh's not throwing interceptions. He's not dropping passes. And that's all true. My take is they should never be in that position because they should be running the ball. Do you know something that nobody talked about in that Ravens-Steelers playoff game? Was that the Ravens didn't turn the ball over against Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me the last time that the Ravens have played the Steelers and haven't turned the ball over. It's been a while, hasn't it? Right?
Yeah.
It's been a while. Well, you know why they didn't turn the ball over? It was because they ran the ball.
They ran the rock.
They ran the ball, Harbaugh. They ran the ball. So I think it's Harbaugh's fault. I get he's a good coach, but I think this is an Andy Reid Philadelphia thing, where Andy's a good coach, but at a certain time, you just hit your expiration date. Andy moves on, goes to Kansas City, and now he's winning Super Bowls. Harbaugh will get snatched up in seconds if he gets fired by the Ravens, and for him. He should go somewhere else. I think he's going to have good success. But the Ravens need another coach. They need another guy. I want a defensive coach because the defensive coaches are going to want to run the ball. They're going to want to be physical, smash mouth, and that's what they need. So oh, God, Ryan, they've had the best team in football the last 2 years, and they don't even have a Super Bowl appearance to show for it. And I blame it on Harbaugh as a majority of the reason why, because he does not understand how to use his team in the playoffs.
See, I hear that, man, and I agree that like he could get on the headset and be like, "Yo, Todd," especially like last year's playoff loss bothered me a little bit more because I thought that defense, that team could have been like historically good. The defense was, man.
Yes,
and
they won the Triple Crown on defense.
And like this year, kind of like Buffalo. Like I was an idiot and I believed that, I always thought the Chiefs would be here, but I thought that there was a chance maybe like the Jets could be good or some of these other teams because my concern with the Ravens was you lose, 3 offensive linemen. I wouldn't have paid Patrick Queen either, but like they lost some pieces, and the most important piece I thought they lost was Mike McDonald. So if I was going to fire Harbaugh, I actually would have did it last year when you had home field. You had you had the Chiefs in your spot with that defense, and I would have done it, and I would have promoted Mike McDonald. Because that's the thing, like, when I wanted to quit Dick's Sporting Goods, when I was a junior in high school, my dad was like, well, where are you going to work? You need money. I'm not giving you money. You always have to have your next job before you quit your job. That was his advice. So if you're the Ravens, like, who would you want?
I think Monken's fine.
I think I would have wanted Mike McDonald. You think he'd be a head coach, though?
I totally wanted Mike McDonald. McDonald was the guy.
That's what I mean.
He was the guy. Yeah. It was so obvious.
Now he's in Seattle.
They should have moved Harbaugh to a front office position. McDonald should have taken over. But now, considering what your options are, I think Monken is fine. Look, when you have Lamar as your quarterback, he's going to make a lot of coaches look good, right? Like, it doesn't matter at this point. And him and Monken have proven that they work well together. He's about to win his second MVP in as many years with Monken as his OC, okay?
Hope not.
So clearly, whatever they're doing is working offensively. I think it comes down to Harbaugh, man. And he's not understanding how the Ravens need to win games in the playoffs. The turnovers are what's killing them. And it's because they're throwing the ball more than they should.
So I think for McDermott, it should be Super Bowl or bust, which I know are high expectations. Harbaugh, I think the same, but I think one more year. I mean, he's getting one more year, so it don't matter. What about, and the one thing, at least he wins playoff games. Like, I understand. At first, I didn't, the Steelers fans, like 3 years ago. I was like, well, what do you really expect from Tomlin when you're rolling out the corpse of Ben and Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges and the Boulevard of Broken Dreams at the quarterback position? But then this year, for a couple weeks, it looked like they made the right decision, benching Justin Fields and bringing out Russ. But towards the end of the year, like, you needed a spark. Justin Fields, I'm not saying wins that playoff game, but, I think Tomlin should probably be gone. And I love Mike Tomlin. And again, maybe he just needs a change of scenery. But I think Pittsburgh should be done with them. Every year it's the same story. It's like reading the same book every single day or watching the same episode of The Sopranos, which I do. But, at least I space it out like once every 2-3 months. Every season it's the same thing for the Steelers. And it's been a long time. Not quite like 30 years like it's been for the Dallas Cowboys since they've went back to a Super Bowl, which I still can't believe it's been 3 decades, man. And Jerry Jones is still doing this to his organization. But I think Tomlin probably should be gone. What about these guys, though, really quick? Brian Daboll. Does he survive next year?
Oh, no, I don't think so. I think they're going to draft a quarterback.
Shador or Cam? Do you think they have to move up, too, to do it at 3? I don't think they should have to.
No, they might, though. But I think they're going to get one of their quarterbacks. I think if they have to move up, they're going to. But Daboll's definitely on the hot seat. And I think Daboll's a good coach.
I do, too.
I think Daboll's a good coach. Like, I think the Giants and the Steelers should switch coaches. I think Tomlin should go coach the Giants. Or I think the Ravens and the Giants should switch coaches. I think the Giants fans would be thrilled if they got Tomlin or Harbaugh. They would be ecstatic, as they should be. Both guys are good head coaches and they're winners. And I think Daboll's a really good coach too, but he's had no quarterback. He's had he hasn't had a good team really since he's been in New York. So I think he's a good coach that's just kind of been in a crappy situation with the cards that he's been dealt. But yeah, I think the Giants are probably going to end up getting a quarterback. I agree with you on Tomlin too. What's crazy about his situation is the Steelers won't get a better coach than Tomlin if they get rid of him, but it's actually going to be in their best benefit too, because the Steelers need a reset. They need to be bad enough to draft a good quarterback, and with Tomlin, they're never going to be because he wins games.